Cincinnati Bengals. With that, let's get up to Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. For the call, we bring in our broadcast team, Brandon Godden and Charles Davis.
Coach, it's the NFL on EA Sports, and there you get a look at Paul Brown Stadium on the banks of the Ohio River in Cincinnati. The enthusiasm of this Cincinnati crowd in full effect a moment ago as their Bengals took the field to the delight of this sold-out crowd. And they're all set as they'll match up with the Cleveland Browns. Hi again, everyone. I'm Brandon Godden. To my left, Charles Davis. And, Charles, you focus on this Bengal team entering play. They come in playing pretty good football. Winners are 4 of their last 6 games. Meanwhile, for the Browns here, they've come in on a nice run of recent form. 4 wins out of 5.
And there you have it, the playoff picture. The Browns and Bengals have both won 4 of their last 5, putting away the Steelers and everybody else shown in the hunt section there. Both these teams are going to make the playoffs, but it is a matter of who is going to get the division and who will have to go in as a wild card. So we have the Browns at the Bengals. Winner wins the division. Loser will still make it as a wild card team. I'm going to go ahead and leave the... no, I'm actually going to turn them off. Hold on. So I'm going to turn the announcers off, but in a couple minutes here I will need to take a couple-minute break. So I guess there'll just be no announcers at that point. But after the break, we'll go through sort of the season reflection for both the Browns and Bengals as we do in Week 17. But here we go. It is who's going to win the division. It's going to be decided on the field because of that earlier tie the Bengals had. They cannot finish with the same record. The Browns, with a win or a tie, win the division. The Bengals, if they win here at home, they win the division. Let's see how it goes. Browns kicking off to the Bengals. Caught around the 5, gets it out to about the 25-yard line. So average field position starting for the Bengals. And out comes their rookie quarterback, Ken Anderson. 10 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, over 1,900 yards. He has been one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and he's doing it as a rookie. So that has got Bengal fans very excited, as he is the future, took the job. They actually were splitting time, both of the quarterbacks, early in the year, but Anderson took the job. And as a rookie, he's probably never going to look back with the way he's played this year. We got Wright, Fest, Johnson, Madsen, and Holland on the offensive line. Essex, Johnson, and Fred Willis are the running backs. Myers and Thomas are the receivers. Bengals have not been broadcast often. I realize that the Browns, one of the old school Sack to the Future teams, in fact, the very first Sack to the Future game played in 1960 featured the Cleveland Browns, as they were not one of the Fab Four or Fantastic Four, whatever you want to call them, Prime Four that play every game on broadcast, but they were for a while the secondary choice of the Tears 89 channel. So lots of broadcast history for the Browns, and in fact they do have one Sack to the Future Bowl championship. The Bengals, of course, the first few years in Sack to the Future, they were a semi-pro team, so only broadcast when absolutely necessary, and not a real team. But now they're in the league. They've been a part of the league since 66 and 65. Oh, man. For some reason, I can't remember if they came in 65 or 66. Either way, they're in now. There's Johnson, Schreck, Gregory, and the other guy. Houston, Lindsey, and Billy Andrews are the linebackers for the Cleveland Browns. Secondary is Ben Davis, Walt Sumner, Mike Howell, and Eric Barnes. Eric Barnes has been around for a long time. Originally on the Chicago Bears back when we first started this thing in 1960. Early 60s, and then, of course, been a Brown for a long time now. There's a deep shot taken by Ken Anderson, but it's incomplete. 3rd and 10, right around midfield. Opening drive here. Last game of the regular season. There's some nice blocking on the outside. Picks up good yardage, just Essex Johnson, but not enough for a first down. So the Browns hold, and the Bengals will punt. So both these teams have split time at the quarterback position. Out comes the starter, and the starter that won the job throughout the season, Mike Phipps. 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, just over 1,200 yards. He may actually have less yards than Nelson, but he has put the Steelers away, and they're right on the cusp of putting the Bengals away to win this division. And it's large part thanks to Mike Phipps. Not Michael Phelps. Leroy Kelly, 104 yards last game. He's near 1,000. He only needs 30 some odd yards to hit the 1,000-yard mark. No chance of catching Dwayne Thomas for the lead in the league, as he's 400 yards behind. But 1,000 yards is still very stressful. Phipps decides to run for it. He gets popped, fumbles the ball, but there's Leroy Kelly making his biggest play of the game so far. It's not a run, it's rather a fumble recovery that saves the day for the Browns. If the Browns win, they go ahead and clinch the division and finish with the same record as the Dolphins, so they may be the 3 seed. Not sure who's going to win that tiebreaker. We will leave it up to Madden if the Browns do win. If they lose, then they are definitely not a division champion, and the Bengals are definitely the 4 seed. So the Browns could possibly be the 3 seed. The Bengals, best they can do is 4 seed. If the Bengals lose, they're definitely the 6 seed. So the Bengals will either be the 4 or the 6. The Browns could be 3 with a win, could be 4 with a win, could be 6 with a loss. So Colts have clinched the 5 seed. We know that. And we know the 1 seed is the Oilers and the 2 seed is the Chiefs. There's Phipps going to run again. He fumbled last time he did this. Runs right past the first defender and gets up to midfield, bringing up 2nd and 1. There you see the Broncos. Well, you didn't see the score, but the Broncos, the game is technically going on at the same time as this, so these teams don't know it, but inside information and the fact that you can see the record there, the Broncos are going to finish the season 9-7. They lost at home against the Raiders in a game that could have put them in the playoffs. They failed to do so. So again, these two teams are playing thinking that if either loses the game, they're out of the playoffs, but I will tell you that even the loser of this game will, in fact, make the playoffs. It's just that they will have to go on the road, whereas the winner gets to play a home game. If the Browns win this, they could grab the 3 seed, meaning that these two teams will go at it again next week, but in Cleveland. If the Bengals win, then they are definitely hosting the Baltimore Colts, Baltimore Colts and the Cleveland Browns will have to go on the road to Miami. And after this, I am going to walk away for a few minutes. Kick is just good, and the Browns take the lead 3-0. I will be back in a few minutes, so unfortunately, just field noise until then.
Here we go. 90 Wolf. Strip that ball. Big grip. Let's go, boy. Let's go. Got it. 51 to the mic. set a tone, fellas. Let's set a tone. And fight. That's where you belong. Come on, set. 8, read. Play.
Full start, offense.
Down. 60 or. Watch the screen. Watch the screen. Watch the screen. Get it. Cut. Oh, go now. 50. Plant. Cut up. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Ready? 10 Lobo. Just the mic. I got it. Check, check. Lucky. Let's go. Data. 18. Data. Keep playing hard, fellas, all day. Now, let's get it. All set. 30 base. 2 times, 2 times. We got 4. We got 4. Run, run, run. All day, baby, all day. Double time, double time. Everyone got 4. 2. That's it, baby. That's it. That's it. Big hit. Here we go. 10-2 stop. Hey, hey, got tight left, tight left, tight end left. 4 down, 4 down. Check. Say go. Okay, baby, I see you. Ready, ready. 15 body. 15 body. Double tap. Bar down. Hit. Run, 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 run. Come on now, let's go. On the ready. Ready, go. Double tight, guys, double tight. 4 down, 4 down. Alert. Ready, ready. Ready, 18 Gator. Time 9. 4 down, 4 down. Let's go. 70, Indy. I got you, son. I got you. You're all mine. You're all mine. Please dribble, please dribble. the outlaw. And here we go. Watch the pass. Watch the pass. Fight. Let's go. Let's do this. Come on, set. 90, Wolf. Come.
False start. Offense.
Down. 8, read.
Mike back two. Mike back two. Squeeze, squeeze, double, double.
But I. Get it.
A fumble, and the Browns recover it. Reed on the sack. Brown, I come back just in time to see the Browns fumble for the second time, and for the second time, the Browns recover the fumble. So the Bengals are getting the ball out, but unfortunately for them, the Browns keep recovering the fumbles, and that is the difference of the game right now. I'm sure if the Bengals recovered the first one, it would still be 0-0, and this one would also keep the Browns off the board, but as is, the Browns recovering their own fumbles, maintain the 3-0 lead, and looking for more points right here. Phipps now from the gun. He's going to step up, fire, back of the end zone, got his feet down, touchdown. And the non-turnover, because they recover their own fumble, turns into more points for the Browns, as the Browns just capitalizing, not even on mistakes the Bengals made, but rather not letting the Bengals capitalize on their mistakes or recovering for each other. One guy on the team makes a mistake, somebody else on the team picks him up. That is a good way to clarify or summarize the season for the Cleveland Browns so far, as they've been picking each other up all year long. Taking a closer look at this one, I'm pretty sure it was obvious that Hooker got his feet in bounds. Let's see if they somehow saw something that we didn't. They do verify it's a touchdown, so we'll go ahead and start with the Bengals are going to block this extra point try. Can they pick it up and get 2 points? No, nice tackle. So another, again, as we talked about, picking up each other or your own mistakes. Nelson demoted to the backup quarterback, but the kick gets blocked, and it's backup now quarterback Nelson, who, rather than pouting about the fact he's not the starter anymore, comes up on special teams, makes a tackle, and that saves another 2 points. So we've had 2 fumbles recovered by the offense to allow the offense to put up 9 points instead of 0, and then a nice tackle on special teams from the backup quarterback to keep the Bengals from getting 2 points. So the Browns have had 3 possible turnovers, if you will, and their teammates have picked them up so that it's done 0 damage. Well, except for the 1 point not going on the board for the missed extra point or blocked extra point. That's how the Browns have been all year long. We'll look at the Bengals, though, since they have the ball. Bengals here come into this game at 9-5-1. So worst case, they'll be 9-6-1. And the wild card team, best case, of course, they'll be 10-5-1 and win the division. In real life, 1971, the Bengals were only 4-10. But the funny thing about the Bengals in real life, 4 wins, 10 losses, but they actually outscored their opponents by 19 points. In fact, in real life 71, the AFC Central consisted of the Browns, Steelers, Oilers, and Bengals. And of those 4 teams, the number 1 team in point differential was the Bengals. But they were 4-10. So in real life, they finished in last. Here, they have a chance to win the division, so a big turnaround. But again, some of that was hard to explain what happened in real life, as they outscored their opponents. They were in every game, but just somehow finished with only 4 wins to 10 losses. Their defense was actually the best in the division, and their offense, they scored just 1 point less than the Browns. So statistically, you could argue they were right there as maybe the best team in the division, even though they finished 4-10. Here in Sack to the Future, they have had a better luck, I guess. Their stats are about the same, but rather than being 4-10 with good stats, they're actually a good record with good stats. Leroy Kelly is up to 995 yards on the year. Again, they play 16 games with XP, only 14 in real life. The 71 Browns real life, they went 9-5. Right now they are 10-5, so very accurate. They did win the division in real life. And we're 10th in offense and 10th in defense. Leroy Kelly in real life did, of course, lead the team in rushing. Again, only 14 games played, not 16. But he ended with 865 yards. So again, if you give him 2 extra yards, two extra games, he probably would have, in fact, got 1,000 yards. So Kelly's right on track with what he did in real life. There goes Phipps. He's going to run again. He's going to slide, I think, before he got the first down. It is short to the first down. In real life, Nelson made 13 of the starts. Phipps started only one time. And in that one start, Phipps threw 4 interceptions, so didn't really get a second chance in real life. But here in Sack to the Future, I think Nelson was just not playing that great in the beginning of the year, or maybe it was an injury. I don't remember, but Phelps came in, played okay. Nelson, I think it was an injury, because then when Nelson was done being injured, he came back, took the starter job, and was playing okay, but they just weren't winning. So they went to Phelps, they won a game, let him start again, they won another game, and they just rode him out the rest of the year. He's 4-1 in the last 5 games of the year here, trying to go 5-1 and win this division. So the Bengals, the very intriguing team of 71 real life. There's Anderson taking a sack. Again, I told you the Browns were the 10th best offense and 10th best defense and finished in first. The Bengals were 11th in offense and 9th in defense. So again, pretty much the same team statistically, but instead of 9-5 like the Browns were, they were 4-10. So how does that happen? Let's give you kind of a rundown on the close games that they lost. So they started off with a big win against the Eagles, 37-14. But then some of these, they lost by 11 to the Steelers, by 3 to the Packers, 10 to the Dolphins, 3 to the Browns. 1 point loss to the Oilers, 1 point loss to the Falcons, 7 point loss to the Steelers, a 12 point loss to the Jets, but a lot of single-digit losses, and that's why they were 4-10, despite having pretty good stats that you would think, looking at their stats, they probably went 8-6, but no, they were 4-10. As far as how the difference is, Virgil Carter has played pretty well. It's just Anderson, since getting a chance, has played just slightly better. I mean, they really have 2 good quarterbacks. I guess they figure Ken Anderson's the future, and since he played well, they just kept going with him, so he's the starter now. In real life, even though they were excited about Anderson, they went 0-4 in the games he started. So Virgil Carter went 4-6 as the starter, was over 60%, one of the only quarterbacks in real life 71 to do so. Had 10 touchdowns to only 7 interceptions. Ken Anderson had 5 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions. Both quarterbacks in real life played well, but Virgil Carter played the majority until they turned to Anderson late. Here, sort of the same thing, but not because they thought they were out of it or anything. It was just rather they made the change for a spark, and it did work. Anderson has won 4 out of the last 5 games. And again, Virgil Carter is a good quarterback, but Anderson is the rookie, and they're winning behind him, so the writing's on the wall that he is probably the starter going forward into next year and such. no Leroy Kelly on the Bengals team, so you have seen some of these guys already. Willis, Phillips, and Johnson, kind of a three-headed monster, all between 400 and 600 yards as they split the carries between them. And they're kind of doing that same thing in Sack to the Future, so pretty accurate there. But the Bengals, again, 4-10, definitely did not make the playoffs in real life when only 4 teams were allowed to make it. The Browns did make the playoffs with their division win and their opening game. They did have to play the Baltimore Colts, which it's possible to have to play them here as well. In real life, they hosted the Colts and got smacked 20-3. Right now, the Colts have locked in the 5 seed, so if the Browns win but happen to lose that tiebreaker to the Dolphins, then the Browns will be hosting the Colts. So that will be an exact rematch of the real-life 71 playoff game. Anderson on play action pass rolls out and looks deep and finds his receiver downfield. Biggest play of the afternoon for the Cincinnati Bengals. Speedy Thomas is the one that got open downfield, and Anderson showing that arm strength and tight spirals as he throws, able to get it down to the 14-yard line. And now a handoff to Essex Johnson, and he spins and does everything he can to get just back to the line. Bengals trying to score before the half, get it down to a 1-score game for the second half. They would love the touchdown, but a field goal will still do the trick. Hey, Soundwave, how is it going? I will definitely be playing Madden 24. I am going to continue this on Madden 20, of course, Sack to the Future, but I will definitely be playing Madden 24. I don't know that I will be creating a roster, at least not anytime soon. That'll be more of my just play thing. However, I do want to, I am getting it. I skipped 23. Got 22, didn't like it. Skipped 23 completely. I am going to go ahead and get Madden 24. I did not pay extra for the deluxe edition to get it 3 days early or anything like that, but in a week or so, whenever it comes out, for the rest of us that pay the normal price, I will be playing it. Looking forward to it. I don't know. Usually disappointed, but at least I know some things. There are some extra things in franchise now, so I think that I will at least be happy about that. Have you decided? Are you going to play Madden right away, or are you going to see how people, feel about the game first? I'm not sure if I will broadcast anything quickly from Madden 24. I mean, maybe I will, but I might not. There's a big run by Leroy Kelly. I definitely will be, the playoffs are going to start here in 71, so I'll definitely be doing some of that. And as I play Madden 24, even if it's off broadcast, I can definitely talk about how I feel about the game, at least early reflections. And I do have an idea of if I decide to broadcast anything or do any computer thing, at least at first, until I just don't have the energy to do a whole roster anymore. So unless yourself or I teach or somebody goes through that grind of making a classical roster for Madden 24, I don't think that will be on my radar anytime soon. One thing I was thinking of doing, though, just because it's less work but also something exciting possibly for Madden 24 is going a little bit, going with an international type league, since it looks like they opened up a lot of international cities for relocation. I'll definitely try that out and see if the relocation's any better with their supposed new uniforms and options that you can do there. So I might do some sort of international league type thing. Not full international, obviously. They didn't get that many cities put in there, but, put a team in London like you can do now, but also Paris and Australia, and I think there's Tokyo, that kind of stuff. And maybe have some fun with, live 2023 players, but in an international type league, something like that. I think I saw that you said you will be getting it from GameFly. So does that give it to you? Do you get that early then, or is it on the 18th, or is it later than the 18th for some reason? Yeah, that's you guys did. I think I may have. I don't even remember if I did one or two rosters for Madden 20 or not, but I know you did many. I teach has like 3 out there for this Madden 20 at least, and then there was a couple other guys that had good rosters. So I think there is 20 different years or something. There's a lot on Madden 20, and the gameplay. If I turn the X factors off earlier in the year, I don't know how often you tune into these, but if you go into some of the earlier weeks, I had the X factors on. And things would happen like Alan Page or Bob Lilly or something would get 8 sacks in a game, and that's just too much. So I turned those off, and then it's played really well. I kind of forgot how much I liked Madden 20's gameplay other than the block kicks. Way too many special team blocked kicks. But besides that, with the X Factors off, it plays pretty well. At least computer versus computer, which is what Sack of the Future is at this point. So I've definitely enjoyed it. And on top of that, the historical Washington Redskins, as they were known in 71, are still called the Redskins and still have the uniforms. And all the rosters that you guys have created, as well as the draft classes. It really is the game for historical football. So sticking it with Madden 20 as the historical football game is most likely what I plan to do. And Madden 24 will just be, for playing offline and possibly that international relocation league that I'm toying with the idea of doing. I totally understand the burnout. I don't know if... I think you make as many rosters in each Madden year as I've made total, but over the years I've made somewhere near 9 or 10, and the last 2 I made, I got burnt out, and it took a long time to finish. And the last one in particular, I think I had to take like a full month off and then come back and then take another couple weeks off. And so by the time I got it done, the next Madden game was ready to come out. And I was just like, I can't. It's just so much. I still like to do, like I did with this one. I don't remember if this is your roster, Soundwave, or if it was iTeach's, or whoever made the 71 roster. I still do my own rating system. Not that I have to change a lot, but it's just the way I am. I'm still willing to do the ratings, but all the player name changing and especially the equipment, making them look great, which I'm very appreciative of the people that do these rosters because you guys do make them look amazing, but that's just too much work for me. Definitely appreciate it, though. If you do make any more rosters, I will definitely be all about downloading those and playing with those, but I certainly understand If it's just like, hey, man, I made a bunch of rosters for old Maddens, just go play those if you need to play historical football. It's too much of a grind. Totally makes sense to me. Phipps fires end zone, and the Browns take a huge lead now. That really opens up the game. Phipps to Pitts. That's been a thing here. It was a thing in real life, too. And it is... okay, yep. So, yeah, I think then, as far as I'm concerned, most of the credit goes to you. Again, I appreciate everything I teach does as well, but the look of these guys and obviously the naming and everything is so much work, 90% of the work, at least 90%, and it was all done for me by you, and I have my own rating system, so I teach is re-rating. I'm not sure if I downloaded the re-rate or yours, but either way, I re-rated the ratings myself anyway. Mostly to have, again, I don't know if you've been following around much, but Ken Anderson and Phipps are both doing decent as putting more touchdowns than interceptions on the board, but a lot of the quarterbacks, to get them to actually throw more interceptions than touchdowns like they did back at 71, you really have to extremely lower their ratings. I think Michael Phipps might be like a 50 or something. He's worse than Nelson, technically rating-wise, but he plays better than him, slightly better. But, I mean, yeah, you have to go real low. So that's another thing I do appreciate is I believe usually on your rosters, you lower the free agents at least down into the 60s or so, and that helps me a lot because even though I do like to go through and change the ratings of the real players, it is annoying when I have to lower the ratings so much that then the free agents are, 10 to 20 points higher. So at least when it's your roster, there are only a few of them are even over 60 to where I might have to change a couple of them, but that's about it. That's just another thing that burns me out. After you create 20 teams, then you see there's still a whole bunch of players on the teams that don't exist yet, and as free agents, they're just so overrated as far as trying to compare them. If they're not supposed to exist yet, then how could they be rated anywhere near Mike Phipps or people that are playing in the league? And look at Phipps. Like I said, Madden is so, and this is true for all the Madden games, it's so, modernized as it should be, I guess. I mean, they're making the game for today. That quarterbacks are so good that Phipps is like a 50-something, 52 overall, and you see he's 18 of 22 with a couple touchdowns. So, I mean, at least with his rating all the way down, he can have bad games. The way you open the box game and you just rename Pat Mahomes or something. I mean, Pat Mahomes is amazing, but even if you re-rate, I don't know, Justin Fields as Mike Phipps, then he'll go like 80% with 25 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And first of all, that's better than Fields should be. Second of all, it's way better than 1971 stats should be. But that's why I said if I do anything more than just playing straight up with the straight up teams in the 23-24 season, if I broadcast anything, it'll be more of a relocation type scenario where I don't have to mess with the ratings at all and just let them play their overpowered offenses, but change the teams up, through a relocation and fantasy draft type of situation. There's some nice blocking on the outside for Brown. That was his 5th carry. He's up to 13 yards. This feels like a put-away drive. It's already 18-3. It's just technically 2 scores. But the Browns are really putting the clamps on defensively, and Phipps and company are moving the ball. Phipps is going to run for it. He's going to get across the 25 5 and get a first down and slides smartly. 6 carries, 60 yards. That's something that Nelson didn't bring, is mobility. Now Phipps running a little bit excessive today, but just the option to be able to scramble and run every once in a while has really made the Browns a more dangerous offense, as they've won 4 out of their last 5, and it looks like they are going to go ahead and take home the division title. Unless there's a miraculous comeback by the Bengals, the writing's on the wall here. There's a nice run by Brown, breaking a few tackles, getting all the way down to the 7-yard line. This should be the last play of the third quarter. Brown starting to turn this into a blowout, in fact. Phipps looking, and he's going to get sacked. Reed gets his 3rd sack of the game. So again, with X factors turned off, sometimes guys will still get 3 or even 4 sacks in the game. But an early year, when I had the X factors still turned on, superstar factors, those Alan Page, Bob Lilly types with the superstar X factor fearmonger, just dominating, getting 7 sacks a game every other game. Too much. As it is, there's multiple people that have gone over 30 sacks on the year. Had I not turned the X factors off, I think you would have needed 50 to lead the league in sacks. If there was a way to tune down field goal and punt blocks, I don't think I would have any problem with Madden 20. Madden 20 is a pretty good game overall with the X factors off. At least for this, for what I want to do, which is sack to the future, old school football.
On the ready.
See Cleveland dominating on the scoreboard and the yardage, 340 to 130, 21 to 3. It's a 3-score game. We're in the 4th quarter. Anderson's going to need to show some sort of miracle. And not on that one. The Browns are just something kicked in. The change to Phipps was part of it, but the Browns really kicked it in. They were about, I think they were 5-4, maybe, and then they just really turned it on. Got all the way up to 10-5, and about to clinch another division. I think the Browns have won every single AFC. The Steelers were their only competition, as both the Bengals and Ravens were semi-pro. The Bengals are a real team, and they're the ones competing with them this year. It looks like the Browns are going to hold them back and win yet another division title. The Steelers are going to be a force for the Browns to deal with coming up. We know that. It's 70s. We're about to, this is 1971. Anything could happen in Sack to the Future, but talent level, the ratings of the Steelers are about to skyrocket. So, Browns enjoy it while they can. Again, they've won 1 Sack to the Future Bowl. They've won every single North Division so far, I believe. I'll have to go back and look, see if maybe there's one that they didn't win that the Steelers grabbed, but I believe I know the Browns have made the playoffs in every Sack to the Future season. I believe they've won the division every single time. So certainly one of the most dominant Sack to the Future teams. Brown not getting a lot of yards per carry, but he is keeping the clock moving. Now here we go. This is almost 50. It is makeable, but these are the kind that get blocked. And okay, no threat of a block there, and he actually does put it in. So the Browns make it a full 3-touchdown lead, 24-3. Well, if you were tuning in hoping to see a glorious down to the last second battle for the division, you're not getting that. The Browns are showing that they are the better team. They won the division in real life in 71, and if you watch any Sack to the Future, you know how dominant they've been in Sack to the Future. And it's going to be another division title for the Browns. 346 yards to 135. I believe Leroy Kelly went over 1,000 yards. So again, between Jim Brown and Leroy Kelly, they have had a 1,000-yard rusher every single season and a division title. Ken Anderson's going to try to put up some yards here. Now the Bengals, you don't see the score at the bottom, but the Broncos are losing right now against the Raiders. And I believe they're down by double digits right now, so they are going to go on to lose that game, which means the Bengals, even with this loss, are still going to backdoor their way into the playoffs. And they will possibly be going to Cleveland to play the same team, or they will be going to Miami. I think, I don't know. I think they're going to Miami, but I know the Browns and Dolphins did not play each other. The Bengals actually did play the Dolphins earlier this year and beat them, whereas here they're getting destroyed by the Browns. So the Bengals certainly hoping they're going to Miami, but they might be going to Cleveland. Just have to tune in next week when I get to the playoff games to see exactly what's happening. Actually, before next week, either tonight or tomorrow, we'll do a regular season recap, sort of like those newspapers I throw on there. Don't expect anyone to watch those videos. Of course, those are more for me, for stat keeping purposes, just to see how the league looks at the end of each week. But this one will be a little bit different, as it'll be sort of a season recap. So it will certainly be longer than a couple minutes. Definitely feel free to watch if you want. But that should be either today or tomorrow. Kind of go over what happened in the regular season. And, of course, during that video, I will know for sure what the matchups are for the playoffs. Right now, I can tell you the Oilers are the 1 seed, Chiefs are the 2 seed. Bengals will go either into Cleveland or into Miami. And the other game will be the Colts at the other team, either Cleveland or Miami. Of course, if the Colts end up playing Cleveland, then that will be a real-life matchup of 71, because the Browns in real life did win the division, but then lost to the wild-card Colts 20-3. So I'm sure the Browns are hoping they get to play the Bengals again, just like the Bengals are hoping they get to go to Miami. There you see the biggest upset of Week 17. The Oilers lost to a semi-pro team, and that's not a lot of confidence from the number 1 team of the AFC. They tried to give the number 1 seed back to the Chiefs, but there you see the Chiefs fail in overtime. It was a great game, but they fail against the Chargers as well. So neither team wanted the number 1 seed, but the Oilers end with it. Dolphins 11-5. I believe they're the 3 seed, but Cleveland might be able to take the 3 seed from them. Just unclear at this point. The Raiders, one of the most disappointing teams. The Bengals are one of the most surprising teams, although as we did when we recapped what happened in real life, they were a pretty good team. They were a lot better in real life than their record said, according to the stats and everything. Outscored their opponents, etc. Lost a lot of close games. So it's not that surprising when you really dig in that they were able to turn a 4-10 real life team and end up going 9-6-1 in Sack to the Future. But the Raiders in real life were 8-4-2 and instead just 6-10. Very disappointing. LaMonica got hurt, and Stabler was nothing like Anderson his rookie year. He had a lot of problems. So the Raiders went back to LaMonica, of course, as soon as he got off of his injury, but it was too little too late. And hopefully Stabler will pick it up because, if it's going to be anything like history, Stabler needs to be a good quarterback for that Raider team. So the Bengals, of course, while I was talking, they played for it a couple times. A 4th down, failed both times. They still have 5.5 minutes to go in all 3 timeouts, but they still need 3 touchdowns. So the Browns defense is playing just too well. And Anderson unable to hit. Browns know he's got to pass on every play, so that's making it hard for the rookie. Oh, that's a nice catch made. Nice catch made by Thomas there on the outside, getting a first down. And the Bengals won't give up yet. Quick drop by Anderson. He throws it right to the Cleveland Brown linebacker, but it's dropped. Now, here's another reason why it's hard to know what Madden's really going to do with the Browns and Dolphins having the same record. You might have saw below that the Rams are 10-6 and the 49ers are 10-6 also. The 49ers won both matchups against the Rams, so they should clearly be the division winners. But in the Rams game, the announcer said, even after they lost, they said they finished 10-6, but as division winners, they will host a playoff game. So that's what the Madden announcers said to me. But I do know the 49ers should win the tiebreaker, and I think Madden does have the coding correct for tiebreakers, so we will see. The 49ers really should be the 4 seed, and the Rams should be the 6 seed. However, the announcers said the Rams won that division, so we will see if they get that accurate. And then I don't even know who the winner should be out of the Browns-Dolphins tiebreaker. But even if when I figure out who should be, it doesn't mean Madden will necessarily do that. So we will just wait until it's certain and then kind of announce the playoff matchups during the season recap newspaper, Week 17 newspaper edition, later tonight or tomorrow night. Hand off to Essex Johnson, trying to get in the end zone. He's stopped. So the Bengals not in a rush. It seems like this is more about just finishing it off with a touchdown, not to get back into this game, just more looking forward to the playoffs, knowing they're going to have to score touchdowns in the playoffs to have a chance. No urgent rushing or anything. It seems like they're just taking their time. Down to 3rd and goal now. They definitely took their time just trying to get into the end zone here. Some motion used. And we're going to fake it, but the Browns come out in an all-out blitz, and Anderson gets blown up, and now the Browns going all-out coverage, only rushing 4. And Anderson will fire, try to force it, and it's going to get picked off. And he's going to bring it out and try to return it. 20, 30, gets a block, 40, 50. Does he have the stamina? 40, 30, 20, one man to beat, and he does beat him. He returns at 101 yards. It says 99, but he caught it in the end zone. It's a 101-yard touchdown return. Wow, what a big play. That was the first turnover of the game. A pretty clean game. Anderson just trying to force something, and the Browns turn it even to more of a blowout, 31-3. So the Browns basically saying, why did you guys even hype this game? We're clearly the best team in the division. We are proving it on the field. But like I said, the Broncos do the Bengals a solid by losing their last game of the year, allowing the Cincinnati Bengals to make the playoffs anyway. The Broncos did all that good work early in the year. Got off to like a 7-2 start on just amazing defense, but it all fell apart at the end of the season. They lost 4 of their last 5 or something crazy like that, and they will miss the playoffs entirely. And the Bengals will grab the 6th seed. But if they play like this, it will be a short stay in the playoffs, as if they go to Cleveland and play anything like this, it's going to be the same score. If they go to Miami and play anything like this, they are certainly losing that one as well. Another sack. The Browns just getting some stats now. I'm not sure why the Bengals are calling timeout. He might get Anderson hurt. The only good news is that Virgil Carter's a good quarterback as well if Anderson does get hurt. Can anyone beat the Cowboys? See, the Cowboys 15-1. That's the big story on the other side. And here we go. Block punt. Browns get another touchdown. So the Browns get a defensive and a special teams touchdown in the last 2 minutes of this game to turn what seemed like a very dominant performance, a blowout of 24-3, into an absolute laugher of 38-3. So will this get into the psyche of the Bengals? Are they even going to show up for their playoff game? It will certainly give confidence to the Browns, especially if they get to play the Bengals in week 1 in the wild card round. As good as it could possibly have gone for the Browns, and as horrible as the Bengals' worst nightmare. But, well, not their worst nightmare. Their worst nightmare would be that the Broncos won their game and they go home. So at least they have been told the final score is that the Broncos have lost. So at least they don't have to feel as horrible about themselves as they do. But then Anderson throws another pick to try to make the team feel even worse about their chances. Phipps will come out. Phipps leads another 0 turnover game. If the Browns play like this, they could be a force. They played very well down the stretch and limiting their turnovers, and they're getting better and better at the right time. Right now, going into the playoffs, they probably look as good as anyone. The Chiefs looked great early, and the Oilers have been solid all year, but the Oilers just lost to a semi-pro team, and the Chiefs have looked their worst at the end of the year. The Browns are looking their best. The Browns probably as good of a chance as anyone to win the AFC. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you later. Have a good day.